Hey Luminary, Leslie Tagorda here with an info-packed episode. Now, if you feel like up to now, there's been all these starts and fits and starts and stops and starts and fits and we just can't get the year rolling. Well, February has your back. It'll feel like we're finally getting a move on. Welcome to the Savvy Luminary podcast, Astrology for Entrepreneurs. I'm your host, Leslie Tagorda, creator of the Astrobrand Method, business astrologer, brand designer, author, and Aquarius boss woman. I help visionary spiritual entrepreneurs and impact makers like you illuminate and amplify your unique star powers so you can be the luminary you were born to be. Hello, Luminary. Welcome back to another episode. I have so much information to provide to you, so I hope I don't overwhelm you because this information-packed episode, I'll be going over the upcoming new moon in Aquarius. I hope you're ready to really put into action and put into writing your intentions for the future. We also have the February highlights. Can you believe it's already February here? So I want to share with you everything that's happening in February. And then we'll focus in on the week, the astrology, the business StarCast for the astrology of the week of January 30th through February 5th. Phew, this week it's been a little bit intense. I feel so I've fluctuated from this feeling of guilt where I haven't completed all the things that I've wanted to complete to trying to forgive myself for not completing everything that I wanted to complete, but still wanting to make connections with all of those that are desiring some star guidance at this time of year. I know I've been talking to clients who feel just like me, and maybe you resonate with this, just like you have all these things to do, like your never-ending to-do list, right? We all have these never-ending to-do lists that there's always like 5 more million things that we could do, but we just have to kind of stop. There's just not enough time or just not enough energy. Or we have these kinds of we get knocked off our path because of like COVID and this Omicron. It seems like everybody under the sun and their child and their mother has been getting COVID. Well, you are not alone. And I was on a Voxer. I was Voxing with my community of my highest level of 2022 in the stars, the illustrious level, where we're spending time together this entire year over Vox and having support. And I just kept on apologizing to them. I'm so sorry. I don't have your reports ready for you. And everybody in the group was so wonderful because they're in the same boat and they're just like, don't worry about it. We know that it'll come when it's at perfect timing. We have an entire year together. There's no need to rush on things. And then I was like, there's been all these kinds of pushback, push and pull and push and pull. And so I got on another Vox with the one and only Natalie Miller, who I co-wrote the New and Full Moon Rituals for Entrepreneurs and Change Makers. And we were going back and forth about our book because we finally got our books in our hands, the printed versions, and just kind of just luxuriating and in the pride of having accomplished everything. And then I told her how bad I feel that I'm just so behind everything. And she was so gracious to remind me that speed isn't necessarily one of my strengths, that I'm so concerned about quality and providing like the best experience, that is precedent, and that all of my clients know from me that they are going to get absolutely the best and they are willing to wait for it. And so I needed that reminder. So maybe you needed that reminder as well. And it's really exciting coming up in February. While there aren't a whole ton of big aspects, divine timing is on your side. Things will be all moving ahead super soon. There's a lot of energies that are now moving into Capricorn. And when the moon is in Capricorn, also, we're going to really feel like we have to strategize and prioritize things for maximum impact. And then later on in the month, everything is going direct. We'll be done with our Venus retrograde. We'll be done with our Mercury retrograde. We'll be done with, I even believe, like, is Uranus in retrograde right now? Oh my goodness, what am I even talking about? Uranus finished its retrograde cycle a couple of weeks ago. I'm getting all of my details all mixed up. But we'll have our two inner planets, our personal planets. They're going to be stopping retrograde, and we're going to have an entire, almost all of February and almost all of March with all of our traditional solar system planets, from Mercury out through Pluto, all going direct. And it's been quite a while since we've had everything full speed ahead. And so this is really wonderful with divine timing. We also have the Lunar New Year for those of us that practice the Lunar New Year. Lunar New Year is always aligned with the new moon. And so we have our Aquarius New Moon happening on January 31st or February 1st, depending on where on this beautiful planet you live. And that really sparks the Lunar New Year. And so if you kind of always felt that January is always a bunch of starts and fits, give yourself some kindness, because I think really things energetically pick up as soon as we hit that Lunar New Year. Actually, my friend Amy Miyamoto, who is a human design expert, she said that the sun has to pass through a certain gate. And I'm not a human design expert, so I don't remember exactly which gate it is, but there's a gate that the sun passes through on January 26th that really more aligns with the energetic momentum of moving forward into the new year, whereas the first few weeks of January really feel like the cleanup from the previous year. So do know that you are in exact divine timing. So with this week, we have Mars and Venus and Pluto and Mercury all in Capricorn right now. And then in a couple of days, right as I'm recording this right now, the moon is at the tail end of Sagittarius and will also be joining Capricorn. So we're having like this giant Capricorn party. And I don't know your relationship with Capricorn, but I'm always here to reframe our negative relationships or our negative judgments, because there's no positive or negative in astrology, and our thinking, our mindset, our intentions really create our reality. So if we feel really weighed down by the responsibilities of Capricorn, then this is our time to reframe those responsibilities of Capricorn and to look at the accountability, the self-accountability, the expertise, the authority, and the mastery that Capricorn really gives us. So what would you rather choose? Would you rather choose oppressive systemic obligations and responsibilities, or would you rather choose self-directed responsibility, accountability, and mastery? When I'm going to choose mastery. And so when the moon, Mars, Venus, Pluto, Mercury, all going to be in Capricorn early next week, probably by the time you get this podcast episode, the moon represents emotional mastery, getting down to the roots, the bones of your emotional primary needs. Mars loves being in Capricorn. It's exalted there. And Mars is about energetic mastery. How are we going to focus and strategize our energy for maximum impact? Venus in Capricorn, now that's kind of an oxymoron, and Venus has just been hanging out in Capricorn, really allowing us to attract what we value, what is going to allow us to reach for our goals. Again, Capricorn energy. So that attraction and that revaluation of Venus. Pluto, going to be hanging out in Capricorn for a couple of more years. Still, Pluto likes to rebirth and break down. And I know you might have heard some astrologers talking about in February how we're having a Pluto return for the United States. Pluto is returning, and Pluto takes 284 years. Like I might be off a couple of years there, but Pluto takes a really long time to go through the entire zodiac. But the process of Pluto is that elimination, that distillation, that purification. You'll hear about other astrologers talking about Pluto as being the transformative, like that death cycle. But Pluto isn't necessarily actual death. It's more of metaphorical death where we have to eliminate and let go of what no longer serves us so that we can transform and rebirth this new, more powerful version of us. That is Pluto's role. And so in Capricorn, we can see, at least from a United States perspective, and this is kind of a Western perspective, all of the old systems that we are still dismantling so we can rebirth something new. And that rebirth of something new and the systems of oppression that we are dismantling, this is something that I need you to like really call into your heart and to your business as a visionary and as a change maker, because we are depending on you to author a new future, the future that we want to bring in. We don't have to go all doom and gloom and apocalyptic, as some astrologers will say. It's our job to keep our energy high, to focus on the future that we want to create, to set that intention, because that intention then becomes the reality. And then Mercury in Capricorn, again, with this short retrograde, Mercury is like rethinking and re-understanding what's that priority, rethinking and getting a new perspective on what needs to come first, second, and third. Now, if you are getting kind of lost in those priorities and, which decisions to make, Mercury and Capricorn is saying, hey, ground yourself, use your body, because remember, Capricorn is still an earth sign. So we can use our bodies to help us listen to our intuition and strategically choose the next direction. You never have to go it alone when you are using your intuition as a strategic partner in your business. Okay, so before we dive into the new moon in Aquarius, the February highlights, and the Business StarCast for the week of January 30th through February 5th, I wanted to send you a couple of important reminders. So, number one, it's time to craft your vision. If you haven't already crafted your vision for your business, this is going to help you with your new moon intentions. This is going to help you with drawing in your greater communities. This is going to help you draw in and retain your soul customers, your brand vision. So remember, the last episode that I dropped on Wednesday, the 26th, was all about creating your brand vision. Get that, listen to that podcast and grab that vision worksheet so that you can add that to your new moon intentions. The second thing that I wanted to remind you of is that Written in the Stars, my introductory course on how to read your natal chart for business, the wait list is now open. My team and I are putting the final touches on the sales page so that we can open up the doors, but we're not quite there yet. So if you want in and you want to be notified when our doors open, head on over to thesavvyluminary.com/wait list. I'll be delivering this mini training during the week of February 14th. That's my birthday. So you'll be celebrating my birthday with me on February 14th, which also happens to be the 2-year anniversary of this humble podcast. So that entire week, I'll be showing up live every day. We'll be talking about astrology, and I'll be teaching you how to read your natal chart for your business, for your work, in an empowering, non-fear mongering way. And this is for you if you are interested in taking my Astrobrand certification that will be coming up in the summer and fall. This is a prerequisite course for all of my intensives and for the certification. So even if you know how to read your natal chart for business, this will cue you into my flavor of astrology. And if you're new to astrology, this is going to give you a really solid foundation of learning all the symbols, what they mean, and how to divvy up all of those pieces in your natal chart. The course is not an interpretation class. That will be coming up with Star Powered Intensive. So With all that said, if you're interested in the worksheet, first, I forgot to give you that link. That's at thesavvyluminary.com/vision. And if you're interested in Written in the Stars, how to read your natal chart for business, sign up for that wait list. We get started on February 14th, and that link is thesavvyluminary.com/waitlist. Okay. So let's get into the astrology. Let's go through the February highlights first, and then I'll share the new moon in Aquarius, and then we'll fine tune and get into all of the details for the astrology for entrepreneurs, the Business StarCast for the week of January 30th through February 5th. So here we go. The theme that I've given the February 22 Business StarCast is focus your social impact. February just feels like we get to flex and focus and get moving forward in our own free, individualistic way. Now, being an individual and being free doesn't mean that we are separate from the collective. So even though we are free and, accountable for ourselves, we still need to have this inclusive feel and not have our freedom or our own self-responsibility at the cost of the collective. So there's this idea of inclusivity, yet free. You've got change on the mind and want to impact the world for the better through your visionary work. You want the freedom to be an individual while wanting to contribute to the collective. That is your social impact, to give back your one-of-a-kind gifts through your work in an equitable way. Create the change for the vision you hold for the future. I know it's a big ask. And you've had weeks to reflect, distill, revolutionize, and refine. With Venus retrograde now almost behind us, by the time you listen to this, Venus retrograde will be moving direct. You reevaluated what's important and what you want to bring more of in your work with strategy and priority. And with Mercury retrograde ending by the 3rd of this month, you've revisioned the future you want to create through your work. Now it's perfect divine timing of our cosmic support system, because now you have the pieces to decide on the social impact you want your work to have, the vision of the future you want to create. Social impact is the cumulative result of the ripple effect of change that snowballs when those whose lives have been impacted because of your work with them. Your ripple impact can grow when you're able to call in more people to your community. To do that, you need a clear vision, also known as a brand vision or a vision statement, to share. Think of your brand vision, your vision statement, as a manifesto, just like Martin Luther King's I Have a Dream speech, where he shared his beautiful vision, his dream of a future where Black people lived with harmony and equality. Your vision statement is your rallying cry, your rebel yell. Harness the collective astrology and star-powered energy of February to support this big ask. Take a page from MLK's book and start with finishing the statement, I have a dream. Now, in that free visioning worksheet that I have for you at thesavvyluminary.com/vision, I have additional statements for you that you can fill out along with key questions so you can gather all the pieces that you need for your unique vision statement. And if you've purchased 2022 in the stars, I'm dropping an extra bonus for you, a bonus training about harnessing your 11th house astrological key, the archetypal energy that lives at the top of your 11th house cusp, in order to really focus in and attune your brand vision. Now, the beginning of the month opens with an Aquarius pileup, a stellium with the new moon, sun, and Saturn all in Aquarius, allowing you to focus on a new beginning. At the time of this Aquarius pileup, we also have a Capricorn pileup. So Aquarius and Capricorn, what they have in common is the ruler of Saturn. So remember, Aquarius's traditional ruler is Saturn, and Capricorn's ruler is Saturn, where Saturn is about creating the structures and creating the rules, and then of Saturn, and Aquarius is now knowing which rules to break while it goes off and innovates. So Mercury is still dancing with Pluto for persuasive, powerful communications. With this third and final meeting point in February, we are now giving full potency to your words. Remember, your words have so much power. Really choose the words wisely that come into your thoughts, that come out through your mouths. And just like ancients and indigenous peoples have always called on to the spirits, or even in modern times, we use our words to manifest. Your words have potency, they have power. So catch yourself if you have negative thoughts going in. How can you reframe those? What mantras can you remind yourselves where when you catch yourself saying negative things? And if you have that kind of practice of, self-deprecation, please check yourself, because the more you say those self-deprecating things, the more your words will have a chance to manifest. And I don't want any self-deprecating things to come into fruition. So remember, Mercury and Pluto, your words have power. And then Venus and Mars in February will start their two-step that they'll dance hand in hand all throughout March, starting in Capricorn, through Aquarius and into Pisces, bridging the gap between give and take, right? So Venus loves to attract, but she loves to receive, but she's almost more of a giver than a receiver. And then Mars has the tendency to take. So now we're kind of like, we're bridging that gap between give and take so that we can all increase our receptive capacity in aligned action in your work. Now, it's really interesting that Venus and Mars will be in step, basically in a conjunction for so long through Capricorn, through Aquarius and Pisces, because Venus normally moves much faster than Mars, but because Venus had been going through her retrograde cycle, she has to learn to speed up. And it just so happens that Mars is there to go hand in hand. So this is really, really, really beautiful for the next 3 months to have this beautiful, receptive give and receive in your work. And lastly, in February, I hope you can get out before sunrise, because now we have our morning stars, Mars, Venus, and Mercury rising before the sun, and we'll be joined later in the month by Saturn at that pre-dawn. So we'll have visible aligned inspiration for all of us early bird luminaries. So get up a little bit early before sunrise to catch Mars, Venus, Mercury, and later Saturn in that pre-dawn morning star light. So will you this month decide to be the change you want to see in this world? I see you stepping into this big collective impact through your work. Do you? Okay, so the highlights this month, we see Mercury stationing direct at Capricorn of 24 degrees on February 3rd. Then we have Mercury re-entering Aquarius as it's moving forward on February 14th, the same day that we're starting Written in the Stars. The sun enters Pisces on February 18th, the last day of Written in the Stars. And then Mercury leaves the shadow zone, going full speed ahead when it crosses that Aquarius of 10-degree milestone on February 24th. See, all in all, it's a pretty quiet month. Our two lunations, we have our new moon at Aquarius of 12 degrees. That's happening on January 31st or February 1st, depending where on the world you live. And then our full moon in Leo confident, lion-hearted Leo at 28 degrees on February 16th, right in the middle of our written in the stars. I guess I picked that really great week. There's a lot of things, almost everything is kind of like packed into that that third week of February 14th through the 18th with all of our astro guidance. Okay, so let's talk about this new moon. So this new moon happens, our Aquarius new moon, Aquarius of 12 degrees, happens on January 31st at 9:46 p.m. Pacific, February 1st, 12:46 a.m. Eastern, where the theme of this new moon is rethinking your social responsibility. Now, remember, Natalie Miller and I co-wrote a book, New and Full Moon Rituals for Entrepreneurs and Changemakers. So if you want even more lunar activation goodies, grab that book. You can buy it on Amazon or almost any online retailer, both in the Kindle and the print version. There's 26 lunations, and this is our third lunation. So we have 23 more to go. It's not too late to grab that book. So today you are planting the seeds for your work in collaboration with your larger communities to create a lasting difference in the world. How do you want your work to change the world? Today, you get to decide and declare how your work is here to create equitable change and social impact. Your work, when steeped in your social values that you share from the rooftops, calls in your aligned communities and change makers, your rebel yell. It's a big ask to declare how you want to change the world. You don't have to have a massive impact impacting millions of people to make a massive change in someone's life. You are being called to revolutionize the way you've been running your business to ensure it aligns with your social values. You are being asked to give voice to your inner power. You are being asked to be the change. For Capricorn and Aquarius luminaries, you are especially being called to bring forth social responsibility and inner accountability in your business. So let's go through the new moon activations. Our natal charts are divided into 12 different areas, 12 pieces. They kind of look like pie pieces in the full circle. And each of these are called houses. And wherever the new moon, whichever house contains the new moon degree, is the area in your work and in your life that requires a fresh intention. So I look at it as being, this is the house, the area that is being activated, meaning it's being ripe for a fresh intention. And so when you're thinking about your new moon intention, I want you to look at your natal chart, look for Aquarius of 12 degrees, find out where that lives in your chart. And this is where you're going to plant the seeds. This is the area of your business where you're going to plant the seeds for social impact in larger collaboration with your larger communities to create a lasting difference in the world through your work. So shortcut, this is your social, you're focusing your social impact. So you're planting your seeds in this area. So if you have your first house that contains Aquarius of 12 degrees, you may be Aquarius rising. And here you're building your social impact through your brand awareness and innovative leadership. So you need a fresh intention there. If Aquarius of 12 degrees is in your second house, you might be a Capricorn rising. And for you, you are building a fresh intention around your equitable and social justice values. If you have Aquarius of 12 degrees in your third house, you might be a Sagittarius rising. And for you, you are being asked to create a fresh intention and plant the seeds around your genius communications and how you share your inspirational knowledge. If you have a 12 degrees of Aquarius in the fourth house, you might be a Scorpio rising. And here you're planting the seeds to be a rebellious, emotional truth teller to create safe communities. So you need a fresh intention there. If you have a Aquarius of 12 degrees in your fifth house, you might be a Libra rising. And for you, you're being asked to create a fresh intention for your social impact in your eclectic creative joy, pleasure, and purpose. If Aquarius of 12 degrees is in your sixth house of service, you might be a Virgo rising, where today you are being asked to create a fresh intention for your social impact around smart automations and the ability to delegate with technology and innovation. If you have Aquarius of 12 degrees in the seventh house, you might be a Leo rising. And here you are being asked to create a new intention for social impact around collaboration with your change making misfit co creators, your rebel co creators. If you have Aquarius of 12 degrees in your eighth house, you might be a Cancer rising. And for you, you are here to create a new intention around innovative ways to heal, transform, and leverage liabilities. If you have Aquarius of 12 degrees in the ninth house, you might be a Gemini rising. And for you, you're being asked to create a fresh intention around an expansive vision and philosophical change making. If you have Aquarius of 12 degrees in the 10th house, you might be a Taurus rising. And for you, you are here to create an intention of social impact around your ultimate mission in your humanitarian work. If you have Aquarius of 12 degrees in your 11th house, this is indeed a special intention. Remember that an 11th house activation, when you get this once a year, this intention sets up the stage for this area of your work in the 11th house, but also for the entire next year through next year's harvest, the annual cycle unique to you that determines your times to work, create, and rest. When you have an 11th house new moon, set an intention based on what you want to harvest for the next calendar year based on what you have just harvested the last month. Was your harvest as productive as you wanted, or do you need to make changes in your work so that you can plant the seeds for what you want to sow next year? So this might be you. If you have 12 degrees of Aquarius in the 11th house, you might be an Aries rising, where here you are meant to plant the seeds of social impact through your greater humanitarian causes and community leadership. Lastly, if you have Aquarius of 12 degrees in your 12th house, you may be a Pisces rising. And here, your ability, you are here to create a new intention for social causes around your ability to reform with ease and justice for all the people. So let me know on social media. I'll be dropping more graphics on how of your house activations, as well as how to create a new moon intention and really personalize that to your natal chart. Check me out on Instagram or in my free Facebook group, The Savvy Luminary. On Instagram, I'm at New Moon Creative CO. And make sure to leave a comment and help my work get shared and more visible by others just like you. Okay, let's dive into the astrology of the week of January 30th through February 5th. Our quote this week comes from Wayne Dyer, spiritual leader, thought leader. He's written and created and authored so many wonderful books and content that continues to inspire us, even though he is passed. Wayne Dyer says, "Our intention creates our reality." This week is about making sense of your impact and how you show up in the world, creating an intention around what have you sensed. Kicking off this week, of course, is our new moon in innovative Aquarius and coming out of Mercury retrograde in hardworking Capricorn. It's time to plan based on what you want to create and be valued for, and then look at the best ways to strategically accomplish all of that. It's a productive, reflective period waiting for you to embrace to set your new intention. So, of course, we have our new moon that happens on January 31st or February 1st, depending on where in this world you live. And I just talked all about that. So the next thing that happens is on February 3rd, where Mercury stations direct, meaning comes to a stop, shifts gears forward direct at Capricorn of 24 degrees. This happens at exactly 11:13 p.m. Pacific, 2:13 the next morning of February 4th for those of us in the Eastern time zone. Now, Mercury will be going forward slowly at first and then speeding up. But remember, our complete Mercury retrograde cycle will not be completed until February 24th, when Mercury leaves that shadow zone. So now after this, after February 3rd and February 4th, Mercury will be going forward, tracing that one area of your chart between Capricorn of 24 degrees and Aquarius of 10 degrees for the third time. This allows us to crystallize our rethinking. How will you crystallize, form your impactful vision of the future through your work? You see, the cosmic energy, the business starcast, the climate that we are in is really asking us to really think about this future that we want to author. In a couple of podcasts, you've heard me talk about the science fiction authors as really the creators of the future. So this is your chance to be that science fiction writer, to create that vision of the world that you want to live in. Mercury retrograde has stepped on the brakes and shifted gears forward. While Mercury, your thoughts and communications, are now moving forward, we aren't quite done with the full rethinking cycle. You have thought through your social impact and the pragmatic ways to get closer to your vision. Now it's time to make a strategic plan before you can go full speed ahead. When Mercury leaves the shadow zone on the 24th of February, you'll be ready to go. Use your time strategically. So make your plan now. So even when you're putting together your vision and you don't really have all of those pieces, start off with some bullet points, just kind of like cast your biggest dreams into the wind. On February 4th, we have a couple of things going on. It is a big day. We have our Mars sextile Jupiter at 5:38 a.m. And then we have Sun conjunct Saturn at 11:05 a.m. So let's take it apart. Mars sextile Jupiter, where the theme is opportunities for focused expansion. Mars and Jupiter are asking you, how will you keep your senses open to receive an invitation? Ooh, I love it. Those sextiles are really opportunities, right? And opportunities, we can easily pass them by. Sometimes we don't recognize them. Sometimes we have to recognize them, but then we recognize them, but then we don't actually open them up. So Mars in Capricorn is your focused drive, and Jupiter in Pisces is your imaginative expansion. When they meet today in a sextile, an opportunity presents itself. First, you must recognize the opportunity, as it may be easy to miss if you aren't on the lookout. Second, you must say yes to the opportunity. A meetup like today has much possibility for action and growth if you can recognize and accept the invitation. Mars will be at Capricorn of 8 degrees, sextile Jupiter at Pisces of 8 degrees. At Capricorn and Pisces, they go so well together, even though you think that they're like maybe polar opposites, but Capricorn's harshness needs the softness of Pisces, and Pisces' softness and indecision and not being able to see clearly needs that focus of Capricorn. So they go so well together when they are combined like this. Later on in the morning at 11:05 a.m. Pacific, 2:05 p.m. Eastern, Saturn and the Sun meet up in Aquarius, where Sun conjunct Saturn, theme is creative focus. For what unique expertise do you want to be recognized? Have that. I'm going to say that again, because this is something that's going to be added into your vision of the future. For what unique expertise, your authority, do you want to be recognized? The Sun, your creative force and natural talent, and Saturn, your commitment and mastery, meet today in Aquarius, starting a new creative mastery cycle. You could think of this meeting like a new moon, a time of new beginnings, and the clearing of a slate between these two energies, the Sun and Saturn, your creative source and your mastery, your discipline. Today, you get to decide on what you will focus on for the next 6 months that will help you focus on your innovative creative mastery, your unique approach to what you do that creates your own vision of expertise. Remember, there's no one else in the world who can do what you do and how you do it. focus and commit to your unique expertise, approach, and authority. When the sun and Saturn meet up like this, again, remember it's a new kind of the new moon phase between Sun and Saturn cycle that happens once a year. At the time, Mars, your motivation and drive, will be aspecting Chiron, the wounded healer. They remind you that all of your so-called past mistakes and challenges and wounds are actually your alchemical gold. The wounds that turn into wisdom are reminders that you are meant to pour into offerings and your unique approach to what you do. Well, that has been an action-packed episode. Thank you for getting so far. I know there was a lot with the February highlights and our new moon and then the astro for the week, but you got it all. So until next time, and if you could do me a favor, please share my work with your business besties. I know I'm supposed to reach 1 million souls this year, and you will be my much needed help. Please help me spread the word of astrology for entrepreneurs, visionaries, change makers, and leadership. Thank you. If you love this podcast, please consider doing me a favor and heading over to Apple iTunes and leaving me a rating and review. Your rating and review helps this humble podcast get seen and found by more listeners like you. Please share the love.